Shabbat Shalom and greetings to you all. I hope you all had a fantastical Valentine's Day. The best part of it, other than the love, is the sale that takes place the next day when all the junk you know is no good for you is half price. I didn't get enough. Oh well. Well, you know what? It seems like every week is a new 50th anniversary of something. We had those fantastic 50th anniversary Beatle albums. And of course, Let It Be won't be far off. Who would have ever thought that you'd still be listening to the same fantastic music 50 years later? Well, sure enough, last week was the 50th anniversary of Jesus Christ Superstar. And I went to see it. And I saw it 50 years ago too, and several times in between. It's an incredible production, though, this last one. There was, only one little thing I found quite odd about it. Jesus had his hair tied up in a man bun. I think he still called him that. Jesus would have been a Nazarite, those who dedicated themselves to the life of priesthood and who were distinguished from the high priest by the non-cutting of hair. And therefore he would have had long flowing hair, as most of the pictures do depict. Well, times change, and perhaps today's Nazarites wear their long hair in man buns. But it was a great show. And as I watched it, I listened for the history to play out. It really captured the story well, almost as if you were there watching it unfold. Jesus was trying to reinstitute the Mosaic code of laws, which we are just beginning to read about. In fact, today we really get introduced to them. And, I realized there was one song in particular that really captured the incredible truth of the whole thing. I think I've seen you somewhere. I remember you were with that man they took away. I recognize your face. You've got the wrong man, lady. I don't know him, and I wasn't where he was tonight. Never near the place. That's strange, for I am sure I saw you with him. You were right by his side, and yet you denied. I tell you I was never ever with him, but I saw you too. You look just like you. I don't know him. It was Peter's denial. Small, simple little song, but what caused Peter to deny Jesus? It was fear. Here we are. This story takes place 15 centuries after the Exodus, the holiday of overcoming fear. And fear was still dominant. And have we progressed in the 2,000 plus years since? I don't think so. Fear still grips most people and keeps them slaves. Friends, you have seen the miracles of God. You've witnessed the great Decalogue, the code of laws of life. And you've been told how to overcome fear. It is the one true enemy, the insidious thief of time. You create all the fears in your life. Take a deep breath, walk up to them. They will fall away of their own weight. And just as it is a special time for celebration of special anniversaries, birthdays, of love, of world events, of New Year's, let's take a moment now to celebrate as we come together in celebration as a like-minded group, and a showing of faith, a continuing theme of love as a community, a chavur of fellowship, when we express our nature of kindness, compassion, thoughts, feelings, hopes, dreams, and wishes that unites us all in this community house of spirit, Beth Ruach. So once again, please do go ahead and invite everybody, physically, psychically, emotionally, or spiritually, to gather and share from Psalm 133, the Hine Matov. Come together. Hine Matov. Shevet Achim Gam Yad. Hine Matov. Shevet Achim Gam Yad. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters together. Community. 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 Together. Because we are a community. And so let's together all get spread love, goodwill, fellowship to the world, to everybody you think needs it, whether they realize they need it or not. Remember, friends, this is you setting aside just a little bit of your sacred time in your own little sacred space to honor and converse with whoever, whatever you happen to believe in. It is a part of your kavanah, your intention that you put out to the universe. It is your goodwill that you're sharing. We know that it is through our intention that we manifest the events of our lives. So let's use that intention to send that goodwill out to invoke healing and renewal for everybody. Float through space, finding those in need. So send it out for those you know and for the souls and spirits of everybody you love. Think of whoever that needs healing and renewal and love, or just plain goodwill. Focus on them. Call their names. It's not just for people. It is for our pets. It's for the earth. It is the healing of the world, the tikkun olam that is part of our spiritual genetic makeup. Let's send that energy out for those in our hearts and our minds, for Frank and Tom, for Cassie, for Bob and the Star Master, who always has the greatest graphics honoring the Sabbath, for Johnny, for Goo, for the one and only Rosemary. Friends, it is the kindness, the healing wishes, the goodwill and love we all send out. It circles the world, finding those in need. So thank you, each of you, for all you do, for all you care, because the world is a world of spirit, and spirit, my friends, never dies. Me, Shabbat, Avodah, Makor, May the source of strength bless the ones there for us. Help us find the courage, make our lives a blessing. The renewal of body, the renewal of spirit. Let us say, Amen. Let us all have our spirits renewed, because this is the great prayer for healing, which we call upon God to heal as He is healed before me. May He who blessed, because all healing is a blessing. Let's send and receive healing and renewal energy in our efforts to love, to share, to care, to grow, to unite together, all of us. Now, our gift from God was and is freedom, and we're going to be celebrating the holiday of freedom coming up pretty soon, Passover. His introduction forever became, I am the Lord who brought you out of slavery. Remember that? What do we need freedom from? From fear, because fear is the house of slavery. And that's God's introduction to us. I took you out of the house of slavery. We don't have to carry the fear with us anymore. And we're going to work a lot on that over the next couple of weeks as we get ready for Passover. You know, friends, there's universal laws which we get to see all around us all the time. And there's universal truths. And we're always in search of those truths, each of us. The journey to the promised land is a journey each of us embarks on to find those particular truths. Every religion, every spiritual system, every person is in search of them. Religions all think they have them, but not one of them does. Ego gets in the way. And interestingly enough, there are 3 fascinating books of the Bible read only in special instances. Eov, the book of Job, Mishle, Proverbs, and the most famous of all, Tehillim, the Psalms. Now, they're part of what's known as wisdom literature of the Bible. It's a fantastic period of writing. And the acronym for the wisdom literature in those 3 books is Emet, which in Hebrew means truth. They are the books of truth, wisdom and truth. We're going to get an insight into these this week as we see how some of the laws are laid out. As this week we read mishpatim, judgments. Now this section is a part of a corpus of law known as the Covenant Code. You know, it's kind of super boring in its own way, but it's probably one of the oldest collections of laws in the Bible. It exhibits numerous parallels with, as well as some divergences from, the Code of Hammurabi, which many of you have heard about but not necessarily read, and with sundry other Sumerian and Akkadian codes that, we have discovered, and with Hittite law too. Where it falls in the Bible, well, I'll tell you now, it's just out of place. It shouldn't be where we're reading it. It's too soon. Again, there's too many laws, too many rules and regulations. When the Ten Commandments were just received, so much of what is in here, real law, though, that should have probably been saved for later and probably was given later. It's just when it was put together, this is where it comes. Just look at the first law given. You really think the first law after the Decalogue to a newly freed people is regarding how they're to treat their slaves? I don't think so. It brings so many of the current historical questions up, but those questions are not for here. Remember, this is not a chronological history. Now, many of you immediately think, why would people who were newly freed from slavery own slaves? Wouldn't that be morally repugnant? Remember, friends, the Torah did not bring about the end of slavery by abolishing it or trying to. Instead, it simply established principles regarding slaves' dignity, rights, and treatment. There's partial, my friends, in all these laws. And I'm sure you actually would need, any others. These laws are about it because they're about humanity, decency, and dignity. These are the cornerstone for everyone and everything. I'm looking east, looking west, see people cursed, see people blessed, asking everybody like a man possessed, have you seen dignity? I went down where the vultures feed. I would have gone deeper, but there wasn't any need. I heard the tongues of angels and the tongues of men. Wasn't any difference to me. Looking at a glass that's half filled, looking at a dream that's just been killed, asking everybody that's strong-willed, have you seen dignity? The book and its laws are guideposts to life. Ethical, moral, human, and humane. Yes, there's a myriad of laws surrounding ritual. That's what most people focus on. But do not get lost in those. This is the most unique law code in history because it does combine legal code with moral decency. Exodus 21:13. He who strikes a man and he dies is doomed to die. And he who did not plot it, but God made it befall him, I shall set apart for you a place to which he may flee. Now, moral law. This is our first hint at sanctuary cities to protect someone who caused a non-intentional death. Otherwise, he could be the victim himself of a vengeance killing. And here we see how big a role intention, Kavanaugh, plays in our lives. It still does. Your intention for everything you think, say, do is weighed out. What you see as you read these laws are the elements of decency you find here. A code of law built around decency, humanity, morals, and ethics. Exodus 22:20. You shall not persecute an alien. You shall not oppress him because you were aliens in the land of Egypt. You shall not degrade any widow or orphan. We are to protect the weakest members of society, my friends. Always. All of us. It's a duty upon all of us. We were there. We know what it's like. If you will degrade them, when they will cry out to me, I'll hear their cry and my anger will flare and I'll kill you with a sword and your wives will be widows and your children orphans. Now, it's not even up for discussion. This is instant karma, my friends. Instant karma is going to get you. Going to knock you off your feet. Better recognize your brothers. Everyone can be. Why in the world are we here? Surely not to live in pain and fear. Why on earth are you there? We're everywhere. We're gonna get your share. The karma's gonna be instant. We've been warned. We have to protect the people of society who need protection. It's our job. It's a part of what we have to do in just living life. There's a warning thrown in the middle of all of these little laws. And it's an incredible one which we have seen several times thus far in the Bible. Exodus 23:1. Beware the mob. You shall not follow the many for evil. Hold on to your own sense of what is right. Do not be swayed. Friends, it is easy to be hurtful in a group. We lose our sense of self, of right, of wrong, of humanity. And it's easy to keep silent when one's group does harm, or when its leaders do harm from their position, which derives its power from the group. We see this today all around us. We are only a month removed from the plagues, and two of them warned us of the mob, the danger of it. And Sigmund Freud did an incredible study of the mob in his book Group Psychology and the Analysis of the Ego. He was pretty spot on about a lot of things, and this was one of them. And keeping with the need for humanity, decency, dignity, we have another warning. Exodus 23:8. You shall not take a bribe, because bribery will blind those who can see and will undermine the words of the virtuous. Would that we could hold people to that standard today. These are the same rules we should be following today that we were given 3,500 years ago. Now, there's a reminder here of who we are and what we endured. We understand. We have experienced. We should not, therefore, do to others what was done to us. It brings us back to love others as ourselves. And then we're reminded of the only festivals required of us. Exodus 23:14. You shall celebrate 3 pilgrimages for me in the year. You shall observe the festival of unleavened bread, for in it you came out of Egypt. Not called it here, but it's understood as Passover, of course. The festival of harvest, the first fruits, which we call Shavuot. And the festival of gathering, the end of the year, which of course is Sukkot. Now that's not so bad, is it? 3 little ceremonies, the 3 gathering festivals. So how'd we end up with so many holidays? Well, that too is for another time. And then we get one of the most famous and possibly misunderstood rules of all of Exodus 23:19. You shall not cook a kid in its mother's milk. What the hell? Where does that one come from? Believe it or not, this famous prohibition would become the basis in rabbinic dietary regulations for the absolute separation of meat and dairy foods. It's not even in with the section on clean and unclean foods that didn't exist yet. Now, 2 different kinds of justification have been proposed for the prohibition. Maimonides, and many after him, suggest that the law is a prohibition to pagan custom, while Abraham ibn Ezra and many others explain the prohibition on humanitarian grounds, and that fits much closer with the underlying theme to the law of humanity and dignity. And that we discuss much more when we discuss the kashrut rules of Leviticus, the priest's sacred handbook. Yes, my friends, the world is sacred, and so is everything in it. So express your gratitude, light a candle, make a wish, celebrate your life and the lives of those you love, share your feelings with them. Live free, be free, and honor your freedom. Be well, be happy, and be blessed. Share and honor the light and all who live in the light and continue to shine. Continue to send everybody you know goodwill and love. Pray for peace and freedom for everybody, an end to terror and hatred. Remember, friends, we are a community. We learn together, we celebrate each other, we love each other. We share this right together, men and women equally. So let's send out love, not fear. Send out peace, harmony, goodwill, and healing to all who need it. And please do learn to forgive and learn to love, including yourself. Open your hearts, honor the relationship of your life. Tell those you love that you love them. Take advantage of the time you have. Enjoy the journey, because we take the twists and turns and the patterns that weave through the fabric of our lives in our effort to grow, to learn, to be, to love. So please just do love. Now, bless you all. Have a fantastic week. A week of love and light, a week of peace, a week of miracles. Examine your intention and use them to imprint your will on the universe, because we set in motion everything that happens in our lives. Our intention, our kavanah, our cause, our effect, everything is linked. As I've said, you always have time to forgive and to be forgiving. You have the knowledge of what's good and bad, so acknowledge what you've done wrong to yourself, to God, and to any person you've wronged. Ask for forgiveness, but do so with sincerity, accountability, and vulnerability. Forgive those you've hurt as you learn to be forgiving and compassionate, because the secret of forgiveness, compassion, and peace, my friends, is in acceptance. Can you accept yourself? Can you accept other people? Can you accept the world just as they are? Can you accept life as it is without trying to control it? As if you do, you can experience the peace that acceptance brings. So do not stop your journey. Do not stop moving towards your promised land. It is your home. Keep on dreaming, keep on being, keep sharing, keep shining, keep teaching. Keep spreading joy and goodwill, and do not follow fear. Follow love. It's always in front of you. And remember to have faith and unwavering adherence to principle, just as I have faith in the principle of love in all of you. Act with purity of heart and mind. Despise none, defraud none. Love all. Hate nobody. Cherish everybody. Honor every child of God, every creature of the earth. May all people know peace in this year for a change. And may you nurture kindness and love everywhere you go. And work to be present in the body and expand your heart and quiet your mind, because the deepest source of real power lies in consciousness and your ability to be mindful, to be aware, to be present in all of life's circumstances. So make the most of your time in this life. Continue to touch and transform the lives around you, because you're never alone. You're forever blessed and have the ability to bring blessings to everybody you meet. Health, love, renewal to everybody you come across. We're all energy, and energy cannot be destroyed, my friends. It can only be transformed. Your words are your power to transform, to love, to bless. Be generous. Bless others and bless yourself. And love with the heart, because we're all part of a much greater whole. Embrace love, not fear. Forgiveness, not anger. Be there for someone, because someone will always be there for you, whether you know it or not. And continue to explore faith and belief. Never accept shame as a natural state. Whatever you feel, others have felt. Whatever you've experienced, others have too. We share together, we learn together, we help each other. We are each of us trying to find love and acceptance and support we all have or could have, that special someone in our lives. So find them, tell them what they mean, and remember, you're never alone on your journey to your promised land. You are being watched out for. So always be kind. Keep forgiving those you need to forgive, and keep asking forgiveness from those you need to ask forgiveness of. Do not get caught in fear. Forgiveness comes from acceptance, and that brings peace. And peace, my friends, can last forever. Remember, friends, you will always have good days and bad days. Well, when it's not always raining, there'll be days like this. When there's no one complaining, there'll be days like this. When everything falls in place like the flick of a switch. Well, my mama told me there'll be days like this. Yes, in your life there will always be days like this. Keep on believing. Continue to share the blessings you've been given. Share the love. Give everyone the dignity they deserve. Have a fantastic week. I look forward to seeing you all next time. Remember, we're getting closer to the holiday of Purim, one of the great miracles of life. And we're getting closer, of course, to the holiday of freedom, Passover. And we'll be celebrating all of those things in the coming weeks. Shabbat Shalom and blessings to you all. Take care, and thank you for joining.